So the Kansas City Chiefs are still undefeated, just narrowly beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Pretty controversial ending there. A lot of people wanted the Bucks to go for two there. I think it's a catch-22 for sure. You know, now that they officially lost the game, it's a lot easier to say, "Oh yeah, you should have went for two." But I don't know, man. The overtime rules in the regular season are kind of is what it is, and especially when the Chiefs are at home, they get the ball first. You know they're gonna score, and we all saw Baker Mayfield's reaction. So I don't know, man. Close game by the Bucks. It just sucks that Godwin and Mike Evans are out and missed that game because that game was really, really winnable. And I don't want to say they blew it there, but they definitely could have won that game and would have stopped the Chiefs' undefeated season. But let me know if you would have went for two or if you just would have kicked the PAT. Let me know in the comments. Now, the Chiefs are trying to do the impossible. They're trying to three-peat, win a Super Bowl 3 years in a row. But not only that, they're trying to go undefeated while trying to capture their third Super Bowl ring in a row. And that is just mind-boggling to me. And it's a very, very doable thing. I can't even fathom the Chiefs going undefeated heading into the playoffs. Like, that is history. Like, we've never seen it before. We've never seen a three-peat ever in the NFL. But for them to go undefeated heading to the playoffs would just be, like, mind-blowing to me. So right now, I just want to take a look at the Chiefs' remaining schedule and see where they could potentially lose or where they won't lose, and if it's actually possible that they could go undefeated and potentially go to the Super Bowl and play the Lions for the chance to have a perfect season and to do the impossible, 3 Super Bowls in a row. It's crazy to me, man. It's crazy. But let's get into the schedule. So as of right now, the Chiefs are 8-0, and heading into Week 10, they have a home game against the Broncos. Now, when it comes to undefeated teams and just good teams in general, usually division rival games can be kind of trappy games, could kind of be weird, could kind of be bizarre sometimes. So I feel like if they're gonna lose a game, I feel like it could potentially be to Denver or to LA. I don't really think losing to the Raiders is an option this year, even though the Raiders won against the Chiefs last year on Christmas. I don't really see that happening again. I feel like it's a lot more likely that Denver or the Chargers can upset the Chiefs. First time the Chiefs actually played the Chargers, they only won by a touchdown. It was another close game, and that's another crazy stat about this Chiefs run. In the past 13 games, they've won every game by essentially one score. So it's just crazy how they're undefeated in just all these crazy close games. But a lot's going on here, man. Like, we're really witnessing history, and I don't know. To me, it's exciting. I know a lot of people hate Mahomes, but a lot of people hate greatness. Like, for so many years, Brady had so many haters, and I feel like a lot of people came around with Brady once he got to Tampa Bay. I feel like he got a lot more fans, but I don't know, man. You just have to appreciate these players, these moments, while it's actually happening, because it doesn't last long, man. But yeah, back to the schedule at hand. I think the Chiefs should win this game. I think it's another tough spot for the Broncos. Back-to-back road games against two really good teams. And, it should be a close game. I don't think it'll be a blowout or anything. It should be competitive to a certain extent, but I don't think Denver is really that good of a team. Who knows? They might sneak into the playoffs as a 7th seed, but I just think they're kind of like a pretender team reaping the rewards of how uncompetitive the AFC is compared to the NFC, but that's just me. So I think the Chiefs will go 9-0. After that, they have a huge Week 11, 425 game at Buffalo. Should be an exciting game, man. Should be a very exciting game, but Again, I don't really see the Chiefs losing this one. The Bills are a good team, absolutely. I feel like Josh Allen has shown some improvement in his game, in my opinion, just from what I've seen from him to now, from a year ago, with just what he's doing with the pieces he has on offense. But I just still have the Chiefs and Andy Reid just taking care of business, especially that Chiefs defense, man. I think it's going to be tough for Josh Allen to overcome that. And, the Bills just played a pretty close game against the Dolphins. And I think the Chiefs are just a significantly better team. But I know any given Sunday, but I just don't see the Chiefs losing to the Bills there. And then they're at the Panthers, and then they're at home versus the Raiders on a Black Friday game. Both of those are pretty easy dubs. I mean, for them to lose against the Panthers would be pretty crazy, man. I just don't see that happening. And then the Black Friday game, 3 o'clock in Arrowhead. Like I mentioned earlier, I know the Raiders beat the Chiefs last year on Christmas in Arrowhead, but I just don't see that happening again, man. I just don't. And then in the month of December, you have a home game versus the Chargers at Cleveland, home versus the Texans, and at Steelers. Now that is a very interesting stretch for the month of December. That Chargers game, that's a big game, primetime game. I really feel like if they're going to lose a game this year, it's going to be against the Chargers or the Broncos. And even if they do lose one game, to go 16-1 heading into the postseason is pretty mind-blowing stuff. I believe the last team to have one loss heading into the postseason, off the top of my head, is probably the Carolina Panthers. They went 15-1 when Cam Newton was the MVP, Super Bowl 50. They lost a kind of uncompetitive game against the Broncos, Peyton Manning's last game. Cam Newton just kind of choked under pressure against one of the best defenses we've ever seen, right up there with the Legion of Boom. But man, to only have a one loss on your record in a regular season is just really impressive stuff. So if the Chiefs can manage to do that, man, dude, like, you just gotta tip your hat to them. Like, just impressive stuff. I just can't reiterate, like, we're witnessing history, man. Like, this might never happen again in any of our lifetimes. So just, you gotta enjoy it, you gotta appreciate it. But yeah, that Chargers game, that primetime Chargers game is my prediction for the Chiefs' first loss. I just feel like the Chargers are heating up as we speak. Herbert is looking good. That defense has been good all year. I really think they could hang with the Chiefs. And then at Cleveland, yeah, easy dub. And then the Texans, I don't know what their health is going to look like for the Texans that late in the year. We just saw the Texans lose to the Jets, and that was a pretty brutal loss, man. CJ Stroud has kind of been iffy this year. I feel like the sophomore slump has kind of gotten to him a little bit. So I know the Texans are a playoff team, but I just don't think they're a top-tier playoff team. And I feel like the Chiefs' defense can thoroughly handle CJ Stroud and the Texans. And then at Pittsburgh, a 1 o'clock game. That could also be another close competitive game, but I just got the Chiefs there. And then they finish the year off in Denver. Again, the rival game, what I touched on, could be tricky, especially if they're undefeated. You know, they want to rest. Should they rest if they are undefeated? If they are in that scenario, it'll be really interesting to see how that plays out. Because back in 2007, when the Patriots had their final game in the regular season, when they were going undefeated, they played the Giants, and there was a lot of controversy of whether or not Tom Brady and all the stars should rest, and it was a really close competitive game, and it was a foreshadow game of the Super Bowl. And not only that, but when it's the last game of the regular season, you know, usually wacky, crazy stuff happens. We've seen it time and time again with Hail Marys and teams trying to tank and whatnot. But, you know, when an undefeated division rival team is coming to your stadium and at the last week of the regular season, everyone's going to be motivated and fired up to really give them their first L. So, again, that could be another spot where I could see them taking a loss, but we'll have to find out, man. Either way, like I said, you kind of got to appreciate greatness. I know it's easy to hate Mahomes. I know it's easy to kind of hate the refs too. But like I said, man, we might never see this happen ever again in any of our lifetimes. So just enjoy it. And let me know if you think they could go undefeated, or do you think there's going to be a couple losses on their records once the year concludes. Let me know in the comments. If you made this far, please subscribe. It'd help out your boy a ton. And that's all I got for right now. Peace.
That time the quarterback throws the drag route. It doesn't get a first down, but still it's a good decision by him. The throw was right on target, and it picked up solid yards.
3rd and 2. Anderson's got it on the handoff. He's averaging about 4 yards a carry.
Well, one of the hardest things to do, and I think, in the NFL now is third and short is run the football and pick up yards. Bedtime, nice job by the offensive line. They showed their power, and they picked up the first down.
Anderson's lined up behind his quarterback as the single back. Going deep, looking for Demaryius Thomas.